65% of today's students will work in jobs that don't exist yet. Think about that for a second. There are a myriad of careers that are currently hiring people that just didn't exist when current graduates started their primary education, so it's impossible to have been trained specifically for them. The global workplace is evolving faster than any of us were trained for, and if you're preparing for tomorrow with the tools from the past, you're already falling behind. The good news is, if you're intentional and adaptable, you can build a career that not just reacts to the future, but influences it. Careers don't begin with job titles. They begin with emerging signals that give us early indicators of where our professional paths might lead. These include things like trends, think of AI, green finance, or digital well-being. They also show us shifts in values or societal interests like sustainability, virtual reality-based training, mental health focus, and remote working cultures. The biggest career opportunities aren't labelled clearly in advance. They're found in the growing needs, conversations, and opportunities that haven't yet become roles. A good friend of mine always had a strong interest in supporting people. She started in HR, particularly on the development and support side of people. But as her organization began to expand its work around corporate social responsibility, she was really intrigued and interested in this area of development, both for her and the company. So she started learning more, getting more involved, and offering ideas, and over time she shifted into that world completely. Today she's a CSR manager at a major international company, having a dramatic influence on the community around where they operate. She didn't wait for the role to be handed to her. She followed the signals and created the role around her strengths and interests. Now, before I get to the next insight, if this has helped you to rethink how careers evolved, hit subscribe for more ways to stay ahead of the future work. Don't laser focus your career into a corner. You become more resilient to future trends and changes when you develop a spectrum of skills. Being hyper-focused in one area might make you sharp, but it can also make you fragile. The most resilient professionals are the ones that have built a broader spectrum of strengths that allow them to adapt and shift as things evolved. I call this a spectrum of skills. When you narrow in like a laser on one specialization, you can become incredibly good, but you can also become incredibly exposed. All it takes is one shift in technology or one change in demand, and suddenly your entire value proposition is under threat. And here's where the old saying deserves a second look. You may have heard the line, a jack of all trades and a master of none, and that's usually where people stop. But actually the full quote is a jack of all trades and master of none is oftentimes better than a master of one. One of my clients was an excellent software engineer, but they also invested time in learning how to present, negotiate, and think strategically. Then when layoffs hit their company, and there's been a lot of those recently in software, they weren't left scrambling. They were able to pivot their purpose into a product strategy role that made even better use of their wider skill set. No doubt specialization is important, but it's your spectrum of skills that make you adaptable and therefore employable in an unpredictable world. You don't need one path. You need some purpose. Fulfillment doesn't come from discovering that one thing. It comes from knowing what matters right now and moving towards it. That's why in our Happy Work-Life Map exercise, I help clients to identify different purposes across 1, 3, 5, or even 10 or more years. Think of purpose like chapters in a book. Each one builds on the previous one, and they're all somehow connected in the overall story, but you don't have to write the last one first. A great example of this is a teacher that I worked with who loved supporting student well-being, but who was also passionate about technology. She didn't force herself to choose, and instead she trained in edtech and psychology. Today, she's building a mental wellness curriculum inside a digital learning platform. Now, that job didn't exist when she started, but her purpose gave her the direction to create it. I'd like to challenge you to take 5 minutes today. Write down 3 trends or challenges that genuinely interest you, not because you think they're popular or that other people think that you should be doing them, but because you find them exciting. Then ask yourself, what's one skill that I could build this year to help solve a problem in that space? That's your signal. Spend some time and explore it today. The future of work isn't something that you wait for. It's something that you design step by step by following signals, building adaptable skills, and aligning your work with your evolving sense of purpose. You're not preparing for a career, you're designing a life that works for you.